and welcome to a yoga session. My name is Eli with Tarrant County College. I do have a set of yoga blocks available for those of you that might be a little hamstring challenged or balance challenged. We will begin facing the front of our mats, palms facing forward, shoulders relaxed away from our ears. Let's breathe in, lengthen our arms up and overhead. Breathe out, we swan dive forward, hinging from our hips. Hands can rest to those blocks or the floor, depending on our flexibility. Let's walk, hop, or jump our feet back into our downward facing dog. Realizing every time we enter downward facing dog, it's never quite the same sensation twice. An acceptable substitute for down dog is to rest our knees to the mat and sink back onto our heels into our child's pose extended. Let's bring ourselves up onto our hands and knees if our bodies are willing and able, and place those hands underneath our shoulders. Breathing out, we round into our beautiful cat. Breathing in, let's arch into our cow, creating a C curve shape with our spine in two opposing directions. If we have wrist issues, it's okay to substitute a fist for a wrist in any yoga pose with the exception of downward facing dog. Let's find ourselves holding in our rounded cat. From here, if we can, raising our left knee and our right hand and bringing fist towards knee with our rounded spine. Activated start, breathe in, extend that arm out like we do in spinal balance, looking forward. Breathe out, round the spine and draw fist towards knee. Breathe in, take the foot away from the hand. Breathe out, round through that spine and bring it back home. One breath, one movement, body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. We release our right hand down and our left knee down. We round back into our beautiful cat. We switch over to the other side, raising the right knee and the left fist. Breathe in, extend. Breathe out to draw it in and round our spine. Let's release hand and knee back down. Wag the tail. Breathe out. Wag your tailbone. Send your eye gaze over that shoulder. Breathe in back to center. Breathe out. Switch over to the other side. Continue to alternate. Right to left side. Let's return to center. Now opening one arm out sideways, letter T shape with that arm, and then opposite leg like a dog on a fire hydrant. Release down and switch over. Laterally raising arm, laterally raising leg. It's okay to only raise an arm or to only raise a leg. Maybe opposites for a balance challenge. Releasing back down, child's pose, extended. Let's breathe into our plank or our modified plank, chest over hands. Breathe out, return to child's pose, extended, or downward facing dog. Breathing into our plank, breathing out to child's pose, extended, or downward facing dog. One breath, one movement, body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. in our down dog or our child's pose extended. We step our right foot forward, somewhat in between our hands, and those blocks can go underneath our hands if we so desire. We're breathing out to raise our left knee off of the mat, breathing into lower. Hands can stay to blocks. If balance allows, we can send our hands to our thigh, maybe biceps by ears. Keep activating as we lift and lower our back knee. We're going to release our hands back down, stepping back, down dog, or child's pose extended. We step our left foot forward. Curling our right toes under, breathe out, we raise our right knee, breathe into lower. Hands can stay to the floor or the block. Hands can go to our left thigh, potentially biceps by ears. Crescent lunge. We release our hands down. We step back, down dog, or child's pose extended. We're stepping our right foot forward again. You can return and repeat your crescent lunge. Activated. Or instead of curling the toes under, keep the top of that left foot flat. And I'm going to keep my hands down, raise the knee, and then lower. So you get a nice little weird stretch from the ankle through the shins. And activated crescent move, or curl those toes under for your activated crescent lunge. Not too many of these. I'm going to release down. Sometimes, if I recall my body correctly, one foot doesn't appreciate this. So we'll see what happens. We're trading out to the other side. And you can curl those toes under or keep the top of the foot there. And for me, it's not necessarily the ankle joint, but it's the knee joint of this tapping knee that says no thank you usually. And we release down. Always listen to your body. If your body says no thank you, we listen to that body. Down dog or child's pose extended. If you selected down dog, you can walk the dog, alternating as we drop one heel down, then the next. Upper body flow. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, drop the hips, roll up, forward facing dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. Breathing into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. Breathing into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, roll up dog, lengthening ears from shoulders. Breathe out, maybe add your extra push-up back to your down dog or your child's pose, and breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, roll up dog. Breathe out, maybe add your extra push-up back to your down dog or your child's pose extended. Let's walk, hop, or jump, feet forward, forward fold. Using the power of our legs, we breathe in, circle sweep our arms to the side. Breathing out, activated chair pose. Breathe in, lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out as we sink into our chair. One breath, one movement. Body and mind continuing to work together. Breath and movement matching. Sun salutations. Let's breathe in, lengthen arms up and overhead. Breathe out, we're swan diving forward, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we gaze forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, let's step our right foot back. Kneeling warrior or crescent lunge, mindful of left knee placement. Breathe in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose extended. Breathing into our plank, or I'm showing a modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, drop the hips, roll upward facing dog. Breathe out, back to down dog, or child's pose extended. We step our right foot forward. Left knee to the mat or not, you decide. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathing out, releasing our hands as we step forward, forward, forward. Breathe in as we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose. Left side, breathe in, lengthen up, extended mat. Breathing out, we swan dive into our forward fold. Breathe in, we're gazing forward, monkey. Breathe out, we step our left foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, arms or no arms. Breathing out, releasing our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose extended. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out as we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our left foot forward, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathe in, lengthening arms to the sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in as we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose. Right side, breathe in, lengthen back up, extended mat. Breathing out, we swan dive, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in, we're gazing forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our right foot back. Kneeling warrior or crescent lunge is what I'll demonstrate. Breathe in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathing out, releasing our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose, maybe left leg kicks up to a three-legged down dog. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank, chest over hands. Breathe out, chaturanga, better knees to hit the mat than chest or belly. Breathe in, drop the hips, roll up dog, harder to have up dog with knees elevated. Breathe out, back to down dog, or child's pose extended. We're stepping our right foot forward. Left knee to the mat or not, again, you decide. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathing out, releasing our hands as we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in, we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose, left side. Breathe in, let's lengthen back up, extended mountain. Breathing out, swan diving, forward fold. Breathe in, we're gazing forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our left foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, lengthening arms or no arms. Breathing out, releasing our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose, maybe right leg kicks up to a three-legged down dog. Let's breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathing out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, roll up dog, both feet to the mat. Breathe out, back to our down dog or our child's pose extended. We step our left foot forward. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathing out, releasing our hands as we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in, we reverse our swan. Breathing out, completing our sun salutation with our chair. 2 more sun salutations. Breathe in, lengthening back up, extended mat. Breathing out, we swan dive into our forward fold. Breathe in, we're looking forward, monkey pose. Breathe out, we step our right foot back, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, lengthening heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back, down dog or child's pose, maybe left leg kicks up to a three-legged down dog. We breathe in to our plank or our modified plank. Breathing out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, both feet to the mat, roll up dog. Breathe out. Back to down dog or child's pose extended. We step our right foot forward. Breathing in. Arms or no arms. Breathe out. Release our hands when we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in. We reverse our swan. Breathing out. Chair pose. Breathe in. Lengthen back up. Extended mountain. Breathing out. We're swan diving, hinging from our hips into our forward fold. Breathe in. We gaze forward. Monkey pose. Breathe out. We step our left foot back. Kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. Breathing in, heart center sky. Breathe out, release our hands as we step back. Down dog or child's pose, maybe right leg kicks up to a three-legged down dog. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, we lower down, chaturanga. Breathe in, both feet to the mat, roll up dog. Breathe out, back to down dog. Or child's pose. We step our left foot forward. Breathing in, heart center sky. Breathing out, release our hands as we step forward, forward fold. Breathe in, we reverse our swan. Breathing out, chair pose. Let's breathe in, lengthen those arms back up and overhead, clasping our hands together. Breathe out, laterally flexing to one side. Sending our eye gaze up towards the ceiling and breathing. Transitioning now to hold poses 3 to 5 breaths. The next time we breathe in, we return to center. The next time we breathe out, we laterally flex over to the other side. Let's breathe in, return center. Breathing out, releasing hands and energy to our heart center. We're in our standing mountain pose, preparing for a warrior one. Let's step our right foot back, releasing our right heel to the mat. It's okay to have the heel elevated for the crescent lunge. It's okay to drop the right knee down for our kneeling warrior. We're folding into our left knee joint, drawing biceps by ears, sink into low body, expanding back with our upper body, pressing through the outside of our right foot. Potentially twist your torso slightly to the left, so your belly button, your hips, and your shoulders are facing the front of your mat. We're going to release our arms down, dropping our right knee to the mat, sending our left hand inside of our left leg and underneath, dropping right elbow to the floor, and if our right elbow can't get to the floor, drop it onto your block or your textbook, and you can adjust your block or your textbook to be higher or lower depending on if the fat side is up, the tall side is up. You decide. Let's unwrap our left arm. We step ourselves back, downward facing dog. Noticing the difference between the right and the left sides of our bodies. We breathe into our plank or our modified plank, chest over hands. Keeping our left hand down, I'm going to walk it towards the center of my mat and raise my right arm up into a side plank. Notice that my toes have twisted in your direction as well. If this is too challenging, drop that knee down, that bottom leg, into a kneeling side plank, or stick with your full side plank. If you have wrist issues, you can drop down to your elbow and forearm. Notice that my arm is parallel to the front of my mat and that I don't have my fingers pointing towards the front of the mat. That helps out with this shoulder stability. We return to our downward facing dog or our child's pose extended. Let's step our right foot forward. Walking the left foot slightly inward to accommodate a pyramid pose, straightening through our right knee joint, possibly shifting hips. Hands can rest to the floor, but if we do need some assistance, we can have our hands on textbooks or blocks, shifting our hips side to side, embracing the stretch from your hamstrings and in through the back of your legs as well. If you don't have use of blocks and you're not able to hit the floor, it's okay to fold through this right knee joint ever so slightly. From this position, we're going into a reverse triangle. The foot that's underneath your face, take the hand to that side and place it onto your waist. You can stay here. It's a rotation of the spine, so we limit rotation if we're pregnant or if we have back issues. And I'm going to twist to my right. My left hand's going to stay to the floor or to the block or the textbook. If I still want to go deeper, I send my eye gaze over my right shoulder up to the ceiling. Maybe straighten through my elbow joint of my top arm in my reverse triangle pose. I accept my body and my mind completely in this moment, in this breath. Let's return to center. We step forward, forward fold. I'm going to bring the blocks with me in my hands. Soften my knees. I breathe in, circle, sweep my arms to the sky. Breathing out, releasing hands and energy to my heart center. Just for the camera angle, I'm going to turn around and face the back of my mat and go through that series here. I can rest my blocks down to the back of my mat, stepping my left foot back for my warrior one, kneeling warrior or crescent lunge. My left toes turn slightly in your direction. I'm folding through my right knee joint, possibly raising biceps by ears. Sink into low body, expanding back with my upper body. Twisting my torso slightly to the right to align shoulders, hips, and belly button with the back of my mat. And breathing. I'm letting go of my competitive spirit. I'm letting go of judging others. I'm letting go of expectations. Releasing our hands down, dropping my left knee to the mat, sending my right hand underneath my right leg, dropping left elbow or forearm to block or mat, and embracing the sensations as I breathe, sending positive healing exhalations to any area of my body where I currently feel sensation. I unwrap my arms and I step back, down dog or child's pose extended. Upper body flow. I can't remember if we did this on the other side, but we're going to do it here. Breathing into our plank or our modified plank. Breathe out, chaturanga. Breathe in, roll up dog. Breathing out, back to our down dog or our child's pose. Let's step our left foot forward, accommodating our pyramid pose. Stepping our right foot inward to release our right heel to our mat. Shifting our hips forward and back to determine which hip placement creates the desired sensation for our left hamstrings. Maybe dropping hands to the floor, trying to keep this left knee, the foot that's closest to your face, trying to keep that knee straightened, and that's where the assistance of your textbook or your blocks can be a great aid. Preparing for our reverse triangle, it's okay to stay here in your pyramid. It's okay to rest in down dog or child's pose extended. Left hand to my waist, so the same hand of the foot that's underneath my face, that raises up, and I twist towards the left side of my mat. I can keep my left hand here. I can send my left hand to the sky. I can continue to look to the side of my mat or send my eye gaze over my left shoulder if I so desire. Let's return to center pyramid pose. We're going to step our right foot forward, so we're in a forward fold. We'll keep these blocks here near the back of our mat. Soften those knees. Using the power of our legs, we breathe in, circle, sweep our arms to the sky. Breathing out, releasing hands and energy to our heart center. I'm going to step my left foot back so I'm facing you. Just face me in a wide sunflower stance. Once we're in our wide sunflower stance, let's move into our moon salutations as a review. We'll be going towards the back of our mat first, and I'll start talking mirror imaging for you as far as right leg, left leg. Let's breathe in, 5-pointed star. Brief return to one breath, one movement. Breathe out as we sink into our moon god. Breathe in as we shoot back up into our 5-pointed star. Breathing out as we squat into our moon god. Crescent lunge or kneeling warrior towards the back of our mat on our next inhalation. So twisting towards the back of our mat, sink into low body, expand back with our upper body. It's okay to drop your right knee down to the mat if you so desire. Breath continuation. We release our hands down to blocks or the floor. We're stepping our right foot slightly inward. Straightening through the left knee joint, shifting our hips for our pyramid. We can keep our hands here to the floor or blocks. Maybe chest expansion arms, interlacing our hands behind our back, possibly upside down prayer pose arms. We can stay here in our pyramid. I'm moving on to balancing half moon. There's a few different levels. I'm going to use these blocks today, folding through my left knee joint, walking my hands about 12 inches in front of my left foot. Raising my right foot up to the height of my spine. I could stay here. Maybe raising the right hand up towards the right leg. Maybe continue to look at the floor. Maybe eye gaze towards the side of my mat. Possibly raise the right arm to the sky. It's okay to stand up against a wall and have the stability of the wall behind your back. Dorsiflexing my right foot, pulling my right heel behind me as I breathe. Safely release fingers and toes, wide sunflower stance. As I bring my blocks with me and set my blocks over towards the front of my mat, soften those knees, prayer squat to complete my moon salutation. I could stay upright, I could hinge forward and feel a little bit more stretch in my groin. Sometimes I'll get lightheaded just depending on the time in my life. And so sometimes I prefer to stay up more upright. I think I'm okay today, so I've chosen to hinge forward in my prayer squat. On our next inhalation, we return to our 5-pointed star. Breathing out, we sink into our moon god. Breathing in as we shoot back up to our 5-pointed star. Breathing out as we sink into our moon god. One breath, one movement at the beginning of our moon salutations. Body and mind working together. Breath and movement matching. Crescent lunge on our next inhalation towards the front of our mats. It's okay to drop our left knee to the mat for a kneeling warrior as a substitute for our crescent lunge. While sun salutations are meant to heat up the body, the moon salutations are meant to cool the body off. On our next exhalation, release our hands down, pyramid pose, stepping my left foot slightly inward to release my left heel. Straightening through my right knee joint, maybe utilizing my blocks or my textbooks as I shift my hips. Maybe interlacing hands behind the back for a chest expansion, possibly an upside down prayer pose. We can stay here in our pyramid if you'd like to join me for balancing half moon. Folding through the right knee joint, walking the hands about 12 inches in front of our right foot. Raising if we'd like. It's okay to keep the left foot to the floor, but maybe raise the left foot to the height of our spine. The hands can stay to blocks or floor, maybe left hand towards left leg. Possibly send your eye gaze towards my direction, maybe raising the left hand up to the sky, dorsiflexing through your left heel, pulling that behind you, and breathing. It's okay to continue to look at the floor. It's okay if this side is harder or easier to balance on. Always breathe, continuing to send positive, healing exhalations to whichever area of our body we currently feel sensation. We safely release fingers and toes, walking our hands to the center of our mat, adjusting our feet to our sunflower feet. Prayer squat, hands to heart center, upright or hinging forward, depending on what works best for your body today. The next time we breathe in, let's return to our 5-pointed star. The next time we breathe out, we release our hands to our heart center. Preparing for a warrior 2, let's turn our left toes towards the back of our mat, pressing our right heel towards the front of the mat, turning those right toes slightly towards the back of our mat. Let our T-shape with our arms, our warrior 2 arms, and we fold into our left knee joint, sinking into low body, expanding back with our upper body. Maybe sending our eye gaze towards our left fingers, maybe your eye gaze forward towards the side of your mat. Let's straighten through our left knee joint, triangle pose. Breathe in, lean towards the back of our mat, booty towards the front of our mat. Breathe out, we can drop our left hand to a block, knee, shin, ankle, foot, or floor. Automatically press your hips forward towards the side of your mat. Maybe look up towards your right fingers. Always breathe. It's more important to keep your right shoulder open to the sky than it is to get your left hand to the floor. We return to our warrior 2 arms. We return to our warrior 2 legs. Imagining that we have a friend tugging onto each hand equally. Extended angle, drawing left elbow towards thigh, maybe left hand to the floor, folding through this knee joint. Different than triangle, extended angle has my left knee bent, the triangle had my left knee straight. And we return to our warrior 2 arms. We rest our hands down. Let's adjust our feet to our sunflower feet. And let's transition to the other side of our mat, turning our right toes to face the front of our mat, pressing our left heel slightly towards the back of the mat so the left toes go in. Warrior 2 arms, folding through our right knee joint, sinking into our warrior 2 legs. Sink into low body, expanding back with our upper body. We're pressing through the outside of our left foot. And we're breathing. Maybe gazing towards our right fingers. Try to remember where you looked on the other side to promote a balance for your neck muscles. Let's straighten through our right knee joint, triangle pose. Breathe in, lean towards the front of our mat, booty towards the back. Breathing out, dropping right hand to knee, shin, block, textbook, ankle, foot, or floor. Extend up through the tips of our left fingers. Press those hips forward towards the side of your mat. And breathe. Maintain the stability of your left shoulder, open to the sky. Breath continuation. We return to our warrior 2 arms. We return to our warrior 2 legs, sinking into right knee joint, expanding back with our upper body. If our shoulders get tired, it's okay to rest your hands down by your sides, building the endurance of our arms in our yoga practice, along with the endurance of our flexibility, our lower body, our abdominal core. Let's extended angle, dropping right elbow towards right thigh, left fingertips to the sky. And we breathe.
return to our warrior two arms, resting our arms down, adjusting our feet to our sunflower feet. Let's breathe and lengthen our arms up and overhead. Breathe out, we swan dive forward, softening the knees. Hands can rest to blocks or floor. Opening our heels out so the sides of our feet are parallel with the front and backs of our mats. Straddle side splits. Potentially dropping elbows and forearms down to the mat if flexibility allows, and we can drop those elbows and forearms down onto our textbooks or our blocks as options. We're resting our knees down to the mat, trying to keep our knees fairly wide here, but fold at the knee joint and draw your heels in towards your booty. Frog pose, stacking fist on top of fist. I'm going to scoop my knees in a little bit. And attempt to sink your feet a little bit, or your booty a little bit closer towards the earth. I'll give you a side view here. I'm going to face the front of my mat and teach you a potential crow pose, but if you have wrist issues, just stick with your child's pose extended. I'm going to make a quarter turn into my child's pose extended. Now, if you want to stop and take a look, go for it. For crow's pose, what I'll begin with is I'm going to curl my toes under and lift my knees off of the mat. And I have frog feet. My heels are touching, my toes are apart. My hands are pretty much below my shoulders. I'm actually going to walk my hands a little bit closer towards my feet so that my calves are kind of hugging my elbows. Calves and inner thighs are hugging my elbows. Now, most people can stay here. The next part can get to be a little bit challenging, so go with what your body says is okay. And again, if you have wrist issues, please lay off this. Or you can just stay here in this crow prep. The next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to flip my toes back so that the tops of my feet are hitting the mat. My heels are going to come apart. So I flip those toes back. I'm hugging my elbows with my inner thighs. Now I'm going to shift my weight and attempt to raise my feet off of the mat and balance on my hands. The trick here is not going too far forward that your head ends up collapsing down to the floor. And you may be only able to hold this for a split breath or second. That's okay. We build and let's release down. Child's pose, extended, modified, or regular. If you need to roll out those wrists, go for it, rolling out those wrists. In fact, that will be our word of the day, the name of that pose, crow. C is in cat, R is in rhinoceros, O is in octopus, W is in walrus. Crow, C-R-O-W. We're curling our toes back under, downward facing dog, or child's pose extended. Preparing for a pigeon pose. Let's raise our right knee high up towards the sky, three-legged down dog. If we're able to, and just as a reminder, if you're not able to do regular pigeon from down dog, lay down on your back, right ankle to left thigh. Breathe in, we're going to bring our right knee to our chest. If you're sticking with down dog, resting the right foot over to the left side of our mat, dropping onto the left leg. Avoid falling onto your right butt cheek. Stay on top of that left leg, that leg that's behind you. Maybe release elbows and forearms down. You could hang out here. Again, a substitute, laying on your back, right ankle to left thigh, modified or reclining pigeon pose. Those of you that appreciate the screaming pigeon, folding through that left knee joint, hands go back underneath your shoulders, sending your left hand or your right hand or both hands to that left foot. Maybe the right hand comes up and over and hits that right foot. I don't have that flexibility, but you may. Wherever you are, we're releasing out of our screaming pigeon, hands underneath shoulders. If you're on your mat, just hang out there in your modified pigeon for a bit. Those of us curling and are ready to go back to our down dog, curling those left toes under, we're going to step back and kick our right leg up into our three-legged down dog. We're going to make some circles with our right ankle joint. Now reverse the direction of those circles and rest this right foot down. Then we raise our left knee high up towards the sky. If you're on your back, just send your left ankle to your right thigh. Breathe in, left knee to the chest for my down doggers. Breathe out, rest that left foot over to the right side of your mat, dropping onto your right leg. Potentially stay upright, possibly releasing elbows and forearms down for your regular pigeon, surrendering to your breath, surrendering to your pose, and just a reminder, modified pigeon, left ankle to right thigh, laying on your back. If you'd like to move into your screaming pigeon, hands underneath shoulders, folding through our right knee joint, sending our right hand towards our right foot. Maybe the left hand is able to reach up and over. Again, I'm not there on this side either. And we breathe. And it's okay. Yoga is a journey, not a final destination. Finding a place where we feel challenged, yet successful. Let's carefully release. We're returning to our down dog, kicking our left leg up into our three-legged down dog. If you're on your back, just stay there, creating circles with our left ankle joint. We reverse the direction of these ankle circles. And we rest our feet back down, downward facing dog, or child's pose extended. Resting our knees to the mat, preparing for camel pose. I'm going to apply a fold in my mat to give my knees a little bit of a cushion, but you're welcome to stay where you are. Fists towards glutes. Press those hips forward. Puff the chest towards the ceiling. You can keep your head as it is, holding onto an imaginary golf ball underneath your chin. If your neck is okay, you can lift that chin and let go of that imaginary golf ball. Another option with or without your head lifted or your chin lifted is to hinge back and send your hands towards your feet. If this hurts your knees, don't do it. Listen to your body. Understand the difference between discomfort and pain. Maybe raise one hand to the sky. Always breathe. If you raise one hand, rest that hand down and try the other arm elevated. We release our hands down. We return to a child's pose. I'll take the fold out of my mat. Extended, modified, or regular on our child's pose. Walking our hands back towards our knees, sitting up onto our heels, wrapping our feet around towards the front of our mats. Scooting forward, we lay on our backs. Preparing for some abdominal work, just a brief return to one breath, one movement. Hands can go to your forehead, behind the head, or crisscross in front of your chest. As we breathe out, we gently curl up into a crunch if that's okay for our bodies. Breathing in as we release back down. To make this a little bit more challenging, imprint your spine, raise your feet up to the height of your knees, and continue the upper torso choreography. Blowing out as we breathe on the exertion, breathing in as we return with gravity. Breathe out to defy gravity, breathe in to move with gravity. Maybe start to tap your toes as you continue. Maybe add a twist towards one knee, then the other. You can stick with one side or alternate. Visualizing our abdominal core getting stronger with each breath. Let's rest our head down, rest our feet down if we had selected the elevation of those legs. Working on pelvic stability. Let's raise one leg up. Keep the booty down, straighten through this knee joint. It's okay to keep it bent. Circles from the hip joint, keep this opposite butt cheek anchored. Breathe in, breathe out. 5, slow and controlled. Breathe in, breathe out. 4, in, out. 3, breathe in, breathe out. 2, and in, out. 1, reverse. In, out. 5, breathe in, breathe out. 4, in, out. 3, breathe in, breathe out. 2, and in, out. 1, breathe in, bend the knee. Breathe out, rest the foot. Breathe in, raise your other leg. Breathe out, possibly straighten through this knee joint, slow and controlled. Breathe in, breathe out. 5, breathe in, breathe out. 4, in, out. 3, breathe in, breathe out. 2, in, out. 1, reverse. In, out. 5, breathe in, breathe out. 4, in, out. 3, stabilize pelvis. Breathe in, breathe out. 2, and in, out. 1, breathe in, bend this knee. Breathe out, rest this foot back down. Preparing to move into a bridge pose. Knees are bent, soles of the feet to the mat. We raise our buttocks off of our mat, possibly walking our shoulders a little bit closer towards our feet. We breathe. Imagining that we have a rubber ball inside of our knees as we breathe out without moving our feet, squeezing our imaginary rubber ball. And if this hurts your knees, then stay at your regular position. Resting our hips down. You can repeat your bridge pose. If you'd like to join me for a plow or a shoulder stand, you may. Reminding ourselves that there are several conditions to not do an inversion, a plow or a shoulder stand. So if you fall into one of those categories of high blood pressure, menstrual cycle, pregnancy, low back issues, neck issues, sinus issues, migraines, just go back to your bridge. Possibly for the inversion, raise your feet up to the height of your knees, tilt the pelvis in. You can use your hands to support your low back as we attempt to draw our feet to the floor behind our head. Shoulder stand would raise our feet towards the ceiling. My knees are above my face. My feet are slightly out over my head. Shoulder stand also has the option to open the legs out wide into a straddle split, or to even scissor our legs, one foot up to the ceiling, the other foot to the floor. We use our inversions as a cleansing of our internal organs. To be nicer on the low back, it's easier to bend our knees to release ourselves from our inversions. Let's carefully release our tailbone back down to the mat, resting our feet to the mat. Fish pose to counter our inversion, and you're welcome to perform the fish even if you did not perform the inversion. Hands underneath buttocks, palms face the floor, elbows are slightly bent. Knees can be bent with soles of the feet to the mat, flat to the mat, or butterfly legs. We're bringing ourselves up onto our elbows and our forearms so the back is completely off of the mat. Puff the chest to the sky. Maybe send the eye gaze behind you. Maybe allow your head to rest onto the floor. Now, if you're not able to get your head onto the floor, this is where the block can come into place, and you can place that block underneath your head. And it may be challenging to breathe here. Now, there's another level for those of you that have straight legs. I don't like this because of low back issues. I will demonstrate it, and I'll probably rest my feet back down. But the hardest level is to slightly raise your feet off of the floor, maybe about 6 to 8 inches off of the floor. That's a lot of strain on the low back, so just be cautious of your options. And find a place where you can breathe. Find a place where you can feel. Wherever we are, we're carefully returning to our backs. We can remove that block. Preparing to move through some muscle tightening before we enter final relaxation. Let's breathe in, tighten and squeeze every single muscle that we have in our bodies. Breathe out, soften, release, relax. Again, breathe in, tighten and squeeze. Maybe raising body parts off the mat. Breathe out, soften, release, let go. Tighten and squeeze, hold on. Release, relax. Final round, tightening and squeezing. Now soften, release, and relax. Allowing our feet to flop over. Allowing our palms to face the ceiling. Let's swallow to relax our communication center. If you'd like to send your feet up against a wall, you're welcome to do so. If you'd rather have butterfly legs or bent knees, if you'd rather lay on your side in the fetal position. This is your reward for making the conscious effort to honor your body through breath and movement. over onto one side, returning to a fetal position, allowing our bottom arm to serve as our pillow, allowing our knees to fold up towards our chest. Potentially wiggling fingers and toes to help reawaken the body. Let's gently press ourselves up to our seated position. Allowing our right ear to drop over towards our right shoulder as we lengthen the muscles on the side of our neck. We return to center and we shift over to the other side. Breath continuation. Let's return to center. We breathe in, lengthening our arms up and overhead. Breathing out as we release our hands and our energy to our heart center. Thank you for taking the